So recently, preacher Y.M. Yang from France Church in the True Jesus Church, which is the church that I go to, was excommunicated. Since then, there's been a lot of scrutiny behind the merit of his excommunication, as well as the process, specifically the way that it was executed. And for me, I don't have enough information about the merit to be able to talk about that, but I do have issues with the process. First, I feel like there was not enough transparency. We should have easy access to all the evidence and information leading to this excommunication, but instead of that, we have absolutely no information as to even the reason. At the back of the chapel, all we have is this announcement that tells us that he's excommunicated, and that's it. I asked the council to see if there was more information that accompanied this, and there was not. My second issue is that Y.M. Yang's views are largely misrepresented on the pulpit. He explained his most controversial view during an African training seminar in 2010, which I attended. And his view is that being filled with the Holy Spirit doesn't equal receiving the Holy Spirit. The purpose of the first is to edify the church, and the purpose of the second is to edify oneself, and is linked to personal salvation and speaking in tongues. Preacher Chou, during a sermon at Elizabeth Church in April of 2010, brought up this controversy. And he said that the IE resolution said receiving and being filled with the Holy Spirit was linked to speaking in tongues as the evidence. But the IE resolution doesn't say that. Instead, the Truth Research Committee in 2003 remained vague in their resolution. Furthermore, Preacher Chou said that he believed Y.M. Yang's theory is based on not seeing the fruit of the Holy Spirit. Therefore, people should submit themselves to the Holy Spirit instead, and then they will see the fruit of the Holy Spirit. But that is not what Y.M. Yang's proof is primarily based on. First, it's about the purposes, which I mentioned, and second, he also talks about how the Bible never has people speaking in tongues plus being filled with the Holy Spirit, except in Acts chapter 2. And he mentions many verses, including the example of Stephen when he was filled with the Holy Spirit and he was not praying. So all of this misrepresentation and lack of transparency has led me to three main conclusions. First, we have no system of holding leadership accountable. I'm not prescribing a US legal system, but in the US, we have three branches of government that are holding each other accountable through checks and balances, and a fourth branch, which is the media, and that is keeping the other three branches in check. But the IA and the GA is a unilateral system with no checks and balances at all, and the media of TJC is predominantly controlled by GA and IA, including the websites, Manna Magazine, and Holy Spirit Monthly. People will say that, oh, there's no reason to speak up or try to change anything because God will hold everybody accountable in the end. But really, that's not a valid excuse in this situation. If we can improve our current system, then we should try our best to improve it. Second, information needs to be transparently and speedily communicated. And lastly, silence is often a result of fear. While silence is good when you're angry or about to burst, cowardice should not be confused with wisdom. And that's it. So thanks for watching, and feel free to share any of your opinions on the subject below in the comments.